GameStop is up nearly 750% in less than a week. And we all know it's not because they're the new hotness as a company, but rather as a stock. This is an absolute phenomenon that the market as a whole is struggling to come to terms with. This was like a run on a bank, except most people profited and a small number lost big. It was a combination of disposable cash freed up by stimulus checks, unemployment insurance, and reduced living expenses, meeting an existential crisis that led a younger generation to quell their boredom in the forums of Reddit, where an idea was born that would not have gained traction unless people had nothing else to do. Then you throw in FOMO and just fear in general, and you have stocks surging to unfathomable levels. It turned out to be a watershed moment that arguably eclipsed the hysteria that surrounded the collapse of Enron. Something huge happened today, and whatever its impacts are will be with us for a long time. So how did we get here, and where are we going? Well, it all started on the subreddit WallStreetBets. A group of bored and bullish Robinhood investors got together to take on the establishment. And it's almost too perfect that a lot of this activity occurred on Robinhood's app, as this became the new age stealing from the rich to give to the poor, the central narrative behind the original Robinhood. In all fairness, the aims of these investors was far from charitable, but they have leveled the playing field in an unprecedented way. So how did they do it? Essentially, they identified a stock that was a household name, i.e. GameStop, that had an incredibly high level of short interest in it and a reasonably low market cap, so that their feverish collective buying initiative would push the stock price up substantially. So many people don't understand what it means to short a stock, other than it means you're betting against the stock price. So the way that the fat cat hedge funds typically short a stock is by borrowing the stock from their broker, which they sell at the then current price, with the hopes that they can buy the stock back later on at a lower price to return to the broker. So the difference between the price they sold the stock at originally versus what they buy it back at is the profit or loss that they realize on the transaction. So how did this play into the hands of the Robinhood army? Well, the problem with shorting a stock is that when the price goes up, you're losing money because you'll have to buy the stock back at a price that is more than what you sold it for. And not only are you starting to worry, but so is the broker who lent you the shares. After all, they want to be repaid in full with interest on their loan. So at a certain point, when they feel like your ability to return the shares is quickly diminishing, they demand that the shares be returned now, which means you have to buy the shares back right now to return to them. But as we discussed before, when there's more demand to buy shares than to sell, surprise, surprise, the stock price goes up. And the problem is that as the price goes up, more and more people are either forced to cover their position or they lose their nerve, since losses are theoretically unlimited for short sellers. This, my friends, is what the biz refers to as a short squeeze, as in the short sellers get squeezed into liquidating their bearish transaction. The result is a stock price that explodes as fear breeds fear for sellers and greed breeds greed for buyers, seeing the price skyrocket. It's truly a powder keg. So where are we headed now? These investors and droves more who witnessed the success of this strategy are hunting down stocks that have low market cap and substantial short interest. GameStop revealed the playbook, the template for which to replicate to the demise of anyone caught holding the bag in terms of short interest. They are losing, and they are losing big. But don't forget, most of these companies kind of suck, which is why people are betting against them. So when these valuations balloon, the retail investors who are too late to the party will lose and lose big as well. The winners will be those at the top of the pyramid scheme. And maybe Ponzi scheme is the better analogy, since the profits for the majority of retail investors will come from those who got to the party late, so long as the investor leaves the party before the cops break it up.